important thing when you're setting your rollers up is to find a really flat, smooth surface and make sure that the rollers are not moving. Next thing that you have to look at is the length of the rollers. The correct length will be a little bit longer than the front axle. So if you've got the bike on like this, and here's the front axle, you want the rollers to be just a little bit longer. Well, the most important thing when you're learning is to make sure that you do have two things on either side of you, whether it be a friend on either side or a doorway is really useful, because if you've got your bike in the doorway, you can keep your hands on the handlebars and lean on the doorway with your hips or with your shoulders. So a doorway is the most ideal. Otherwise, two things on either side, like chairs, are very handy. The process of getting onto the rollers, first to check what gear you're in. Anywhere near the middle of the rear cassette is the best place to be. In the big ring or the little ring, it doesn't really matter, but not too easy, not too hard. So find one of those gears in the middle. And then it's a little bit of a tricky process to get on the rollers. I always put the pedal at the bottom and put the first foot into the pedal here. And then it's all about the angle and the balancing of the bike. So I use this hip to rest on my seat like that, something close, and just clip in and use the, try not to keep the bike upright, just let it go in the angle that feels most comfortable, and then swing your leg over like that. So once you've clipped both of your feet into the pedals and you're holding onto something, you might be in a doorway, so you can lean your shoulders against the doorway, but if you're holding onto the stool, the first thing is to look 1 meter in front of you, and just remember that. There's probably three things to remember. That's look 1 meter in front of you, keep your hands loose on the handlebars, and keep pushing on the pedals, because the moment you take the pressure off the pedals, the wheel starts to move like that. So look 1 meter in front of you, push through your hips, and keep your hands really loose on the handlebars. And try not to steer. The first thing you're going to feel when you start to pedal is that the handlebars and the wheel is going everywhere over the rollers. The harder you push on the pedals, the more that'll start to go straight. So just keep focused on that point 1 meter in front, and when you get wobbly, maybe just push a little bit harder on the pedals. If you have 10 gears on the rear cassette, first of all, I just do 1 minute in each gear, so it gets harder and harder and harder, so that's 10 minutes. So you pick a certain cadence and you just stay that same cadence, which means when the gear gets harder every time, the load gets more, so just keep the same cadence. I think for a beginner 30 minutes is too much, because then like two 2-minute efforts would be really enough with like 3 or 4 minutes recovery, and that would be the whole session. Then just a bit of a warm down for like 5 minutes. To get off the rollers, the best thing is to hold on to something next to you, slow your pedaling down, and hold on to the rear brake, because that's going to give your bike a little bit of stability when you lean to get off. Unclip both of your feet, and then on the side that you're going to get off on, just slide your foot down to the side of the rollers. Be very careful not to slip, and then just dismount like this. So I've got 5 top tips on how to ride the rollers. The first one is to make sure you set your rollers up in between two things, 2 chairs or a doorway or something to lean on either side. My second tip would be to be in the right gear. Not too hard, not too easy, just find a gear in the middle of your rear cassette and that'll be great. The third tip is to just look ahead about 1 or 2 meters. Never look straight down at your front wheel, just keep focused on that point 1 or 2 meters ahead of you. The fourth tip is to not hold the handlebars too tight. When you get a bit tense and you start to hold tight, you start to do a little bit of a wobble. So don't hold the handlebars too tight, just leave your hands nice and loose on the handlebars. Which brings me to the 5th tip, which is drive through your hips. If you get a little bit wobbly and a bit nervous, just push harder through your hips.